sea of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome into Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's guest, a friend of ours. He's been on here a couple times before. He's on here in a different capacity today. So if you folks out there that in your counties is watching, you've got an extension officer, you got veterans, you need to watch. That's where the pen comes in. So get one. Gonna go to a break, come right back. Stay where you are. Welcome back into Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins, and we're talking today with a guy that's been on here before. He come to us before out of St. Clair County by way of Washington, D.C. and a lot of other places. The United States Air Force. His name is Greg Jacobik. Welcome back to the show, Greg.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, man, Dolly Parton had a coat of many colors. I guess you wear a suit of different colors. The last time I talked, let's first of all get some things out of the way. You're a retired Air Force Sergeant?
Yes, sir. Retired E8, 26 years at United States Air Force.
Oh, you E8 rather?
Yes, sir. E8, Senior Master.
Yeah, that beats, I was a private, no, I was a bug sergeant, so that outdid me. But you're working with Veterans Outreach, Assistant Agent, Agent Assistant. And we're going to talk about something today I saw in the reason I asked you to be here is I saw an article in the newspaper about you and the extension. Is it extension agency? Is that what it's called?
It's the extension office, and there's one in every county.
Yeah, this one was, particular one was in St. Clair County.
Yes, sir, St. Clair County.
And Stan Bateman, who's the chairman of the St. Clair County Commission, I think he was in on it. But y'all, what got me was I always think of the extension office as a place where it's about health, farming, and that kind of thing. And how did we end up with Veterans Outreach, for lack of a better term, coming out of the extension offices? How do they lock up?
Well, 2 years ago when I was first on your show, and I was wearing a suit, but saying now that I'm in Alabama, I don't have to wear this suit. But basically, as I was going around the county, I was trying to find what the hub is. You know, after the Department of Defense and the contract services for our veterans and service members, you know, start to dwindle, what in the community is the one hub that we could potentially put some type of outreach effort in there? And that was the county extension office. And I was walking by one day and spoke to Leanne Clark, the executive director, and like, what do you do here? They do financial planning, they do nutritional health, they do medical health things, they have programs for children in the summertime, 9 through 16, robotics. There's the similar type program, family support programs, that we know from a Department of Defense or in installation commanders that they do in the installation. So after the pullout of Afghanistan, and that comes in 2015, as a community, what are we going to do to our veterans, for instance, 7,300 veterans in St. Clair County? How are we going to help support that and the commanders and first sergeants?
That is, that's something we talk on here a lot. I've had several people come on here. The governor's got some outreach programs going through the churches, and I don't know how well that's working, but I do know that some of us who know that if we pay attention, we know that they were supposed to wind that war down at the end of this year in Afghanistan. Alabama has a high contingency of active duty there now. A lot of them will come back and be called veterans, and they'll be unemployed, and they'll have needs as veterans. And I don't know, my deal has been who's going to take care of them and how we're going to take care of them. Is that something that you're talking about?
Yes, sir. It all starts with, you know, there's approximately 425,000 veterans in the state of Alabama, about 14,000 National Guard troops, which are soldier and airmen. Then you have about 90,000 active with the Air Force bases and Army bases for sponsor, spouse, independent. So if you put your governor's hat on, really the governor has probably, what was that number right there? Probably about 650, 700,000 people that have served in uniform in the state and are state residents. So collectively working together, whether it's for veterans, those people in the National Guard, and other things, how do we work as a community to help them when those resources dwindle?
Well, you know, in my community, I'm talking about my community as in Calhoun County, when something, the veteran in need, people will outreach to the veterans organizations. And veterans organizations are hurting for membership, as you and I talked in the green room. excuse me, the dwindling membership in these veterans organizations makes them one of the last places you go to get assistance or get help for this. So these people coming back from Afghanistan, now we didn't talk about this, but this is kind of shocking to a lot of people. Out of that 425,000 veterans you're talking about, that varies from 425 to 450,000. 85% of those veterans are not members of any veterans organization. Only 15% of the population of veterans are members of any of the DAV, American Legion, Vietnam Vets, VFWs, those kind of things. So you're going to have some kind of way, to incorporate the things available to the needs of the veteran. And
yeah, you're right. Let me give you another statistic you're probably familiar with. We talked about earlier. On a national level, there's 22 million veterans in the United States. Only 49% of those veterans are receiving some type of entitlement that they deserve. We've talked about this before, what a veteran does to increase their well-being and the economic impact of the community. So if we take the 420,000 of Alabama veterans and we take that 51% that's not receiving benefits on a national level, what's that tell you probably? About 300,000 veterans in the state of Alabama are not doing what? They're not receiving their disability.
Well, that would tell me as a politician, you're talking to me dollars now. You're talking to me about a veteran is eligible for $3,000 a month. If you went to Las Vegas and left that on the table, that's called leaving your money on the table.
Yes, sir.
But you got to have somebody out here to do the paperwork so they can get that $3,000 a month. Now put that $3,000 times 7,000, you said, veterans in St. Clair County?
70, yes, sir.
Multiply that, that's on an annual income, plus the other health services that are available in the community. Now you've got economics. So let's quit talking patriotism, go over to the dollars and cents now. Most people understand that. Is that where you're?
Yes, sir. The Alabama State Veteran Affairs Office, under Clyde Marsh, the Veteran Service Officers, they do a magnificent job out here in the county. They are at their desk receiving the requests of disability, VA loans, or post 9/11 GI Bills, and those such things. But they're so busy, they can't leave their desk. Outreach is about your feet moving on the ground, talking to the local Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, the City Council, the County Commission, is bringing awareness because it's really kind of a three-phase thing. There's an effort to bring awareness to the community that we have 7,300 veterans in St. Clair County. Calhoun, you have a number. Then at that point, then there's training. And then that next point is execution. Are we just going to talk about the veterans here, or are we actually going to try to connect the dots for them to get them into Admiral Marsh's Veteran Service Officers in the state to increase the capacity of veterans receiving their benefits and stimulating the economy at the same time?
You're not talking about the extension group you're not talking about actually filing claims. You're talking about referring and guiding the veteran to the proper.
Absolutely. The goal for the extension office is to put a live body in a car on the ground to go find them. Okay. Bring them back to the Veteran Service Officer to do the filing to increase their well-being and also at the same time increase the economy. For instance, the Veterans Treatment Court, success story.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Veterans Treatment Court when we come back. We're going to go to a break. Come back, I got more with Greg. We see what we got on the table. We hadn't even touched it. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins. We're talking with Greg Jacobik. Now, this number, the email address that's on the screen over here, that's the way you can get in touch with Greg. It's JTJ0004 at auburn.edu. And the phone number is 205-338-9416. Now, if you want to, now we were talking, Greg, when we went to break about the Veterans Court. I want to go back to that, but I've had Judge Brenda Stedham on here who is implementing that in Calhoun County, and that's the 67 county. And I think we got like 30 of them either finished or in the process throughout the state. And that's a win-win situation. And y'all, the first I heard of one was Judge C. Is it C or C?
Judge C.
Judge C down in St. Clair County. But anyhow, that's we're on track of that, and I mentioned that in my talking points at the end. But we were talking about partnerships and that kind of thing. Tell me where we are now. How do you connect your group to county commissions or whatever?
Well, basically, the concept was, what's the hub in the community, which the Extension Office seemed to be a potential. Now, this is just a one-year pilot idea to see if it works, possibly with the Governor's Executive Order 42, maybe some type of execution plan to help supplement. But basically, the County Commission, St. Clair County Commission, and the representative was Stan Bateman, the chairman, and Dr. Gary Lemming, who's the state director of the Extension Office at Auburn University. We got them together to talk about the potential partnership. And as they talked, it was pretty neat. It was the passion of the chairman, who's a Marine Corps guy from Vietnam, was how do we find our veterans in the county? And then Dr. Gary Lemming was trying to find, well, what's this program about veterans and patriotism? I think the Extension wants to be part of that. So as they talked, they said, well, how can we do this? And under the leadership of Chairman Bateman and the other county commissioners, all supported across the board funding for $35,000 to Auburn University to hire a veterans outreach person to do just that through the Extension Office. And that's how it evolved. And potentially it's a pilot idea that can be listened to for the Executive Council and the Governor.
So you're saying that each county should look at doing the same thing, or did it by region, or what, how would you say?
Well, as a business principle, you're not going to invest all your money at one time. So if we follow, for instance, in the Governor's Executive Order, it talks about may include the Regional Planning Commission outline. So in concept in 2015, if the counties in each region would get together and put $2,000 or $3,000 together, they could potentially hire a Veterans Outreach Coordinator in their region through the Auburn University, and we'd start out with 12 coordinators to increase the capacity for the State Veteran Affairs Office. It's a partnership. It's not taken over.
Now, I see, I've got that executive order I've had for a while, and the Isle of VetNet has started here some time back. I was aware of that, but having these executive orders, these writings, these proposals, things like that, they're not worth the paper they're written on if we don't do something about them. Now, I've heard people have been on this show, we talked about those veterans that's going to be coming home. Now, what we got to make sure we keep in mind, we got National Guardsmen over there from Alabama who are, and other active duty military who are over there from the state of Alabama that are going to come back. We're not talking about them and the veterans, we're talking about the both. We know those that are in active duty today will be veterans. At the end of this year, if you hadn't turned on television lately, we're supposed to draw down Afghanistan. My concern personally is how do we absorb that? And what I read on what you on here is I saw something in that news release. This working with the extension offices may be a way to, to coordinate with the other organizations to get some help for these people, because we're going to have to do it.
Yes, sir.
Somebody's going to.
You're exactly right. And, we all heard the news yesterday with the Department of Defense on the cutbacks of the Department of Defense with everything. And me and you both are veterans, and we're just scratching our head. But basically, this is a unified effort in the state under the leadership of the governor. And then with the council, with the Mental Health and the Veteran Affairs Office co-chairing this, we have a great opportunity to develop as a state an execution plan for exactly what you just said, and we own it. And you know why we own it? Because we're in the community and we know where they're at. Yeah. And we know the associations to connect it and increase the capacity of services.
But don't you work in the White House, the Pentagon area, you worked in all those places. Don't you find that territorial things are a problem sometimes? People, I want to get credit for it. If I do it, I want my department to get credit. Do you still have that?
Yes, sir. Recently I was on a national contract and I visited 13 states in the last 6 months before Christmas, looking at all the different ideas. For example, the state of Alaska, their Veterans Commissioner over there got the state legislation to invest $1 million to hire 17 Veterans Outreach Coordinators, okay? And then with the 1 year, they recouped $52 million back into the state from federal resources for those veterans benefits.
$52 million.
$52 million. I've got the paper to show you.
If I'm a governor and you come to me and you say to me, I will bring you $50 million a year. I don't want you to do nothing but just give me an office over there in a cubbyhole. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so.
You're the governor, you're going to put the red carpet for me, right?
Well, I'll let you be governor and vote for you
too. Thank you. But I mean, that's
yes,
what
sir.
We're talking about here. If we get past the patriotism and go with the dollars and cents, this makes dollars and cents for counties, state, everybody. This is a way to bring those federal dollars. If you can get somebody to come in an office and file a claim for something that they're owed, not to get something that welfare, I'm talking about they're owed a disability check $3,000 a month. That's coming into your community of St. Clair County.
Exactly. I mean, I talked to one of your residents here in Calhoun County, Harold Sparks, then Otto Fox, who has been on your show before. And it's pretty phenomenal to know that people just reach out when they hear a good thing. It's about thinking out of the box. I know that's tough sometimes, but here's the deal. The community has to embrace the veterans because that's part of that protects our freedom. But basically, they're human beings, and our veterans need to have compassion, but also they need those benefits that are there. And General Krzyzewski wants to increase the numbers for the federal VA. And that's our job is. All we're doing is building bridges of collaboration to help increase the capacity and support services. It's pretty simple.
Well, a lot of the veterans are eligible and they don't apply for them. Number one, they don't know they are. Number two, they don't want to go through the hassle of waiting in line to do that because they waited in line long enough. The military lets you know all that. Number three, there was one, it's not so much now with these veterans, but with the World War II on backwards have been a thing called pride. They just, they wanted to look at this like that's welfare. No, sir. You get hurt on the job working for the power company, you're going to get workman's comp. If you're eligible for disability and you don't get it to take care of your family, and we were talking in the green room, you mentioned somebody from 20% joined the Army, the Air Force, Navy in Alabama, and they get 20% disability, just 20%. What do they get?
They get 4 years of free college for education. My daughter Jill did it from UAB. Well, as I mentioned before, Saturday night I was a family get-together down in Goodwater, and there was our Afghanistan veteran, and he had jumped out of a helicopter, broke an ankle, and I'm talking to him, have you filed for disability? And this is really what this conversation is about, testimony of real stories. And he says, no, I haven't filed for disability. Of course, my next question is, do you have any children? And he says, yeah, I have a 14-year-old. I said, what are they doing for college? He says, well, I don't really know. I said, well, do you know if you filed at the Veteran Service Officer, the State of Alabama Veteran Affairs Office? I said, if you get over 20%, do you know your child, by the time this thing gets approved, hopefully if you beat 20%, you'll get 4 years of free college? And he was like, are you serious? Yes, we're serious.
We have a thing on the show about veterans, do you know, and it's bills that's passed in the legislature that they have no idea of knowing because there's no way to do it anymore. Thank God we got WAC TV 24 that does that. But now, I know we're getting down to about a minute. What are some of the things we're leaving on the table we need to talk about here?
This is a pilot idea. This is a partnership with St. Clair County Commission and the Extension Office to potentially show the Executive Council with Executive Order 42, the reports due to the Governor of Alabama in June timeframe. But maybe this is an idea that we do in 12 other regions of the state.
That'd be fantastic. If we can do that, then we're going to take care of our veterans, and the community will be better for it. Man, we're running out of time. I appreciate you so much.
Ken, I appreciate
keep on doing what you're doing on behalf of the veterans, and you can't go wrong on that. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
We're going to go to a break, come back. I got news that you can use, so stay there, get you a pen. Be right back. Welcome back in. Thanks to Greg Jacobik for coming in and doing the show today. I hope you got some good info on that. Keep my number handy. It's on the scene here somewhere. Keep that number handy. Call me, and I can put you in touch with Greg, and we will. It's right there. Was right there. It keeps going away. But anyhow, keep that number handy, and I'll put you in touch with Greg. That's some good stuff there. You folks out there in these other counties, you need to pay attention to see what they're doing down in St. Clair County. WEAC TV 24, WEAC TV 24 on demand is where you can find our show weekly. I know you're watching on television, so what I want you to do is to give this website to other folks that don't have this channel and they want to watch the show and get the information. So go to WEAC TV 24 on the on demand button and scroll down to Veterans Issues, and you can see what we're doing here on Veterans Issues. We need some help out here at the Cheahaw Regional Humane Shelter. We need blanket, throw sheets, and the phone number out there to call to see what all they do need is 256-241-3647. That's 256-241-3647. That's the Cheahaw Humane Shelter out here at by the old dump site. And you want to help us out there, we'd appreciate it. And the law enforcement tag, we talk about it every week, and we'll keep on talking about it. If you're getting ready to buy a new tag, I want you to consider this tag that you see on your screen. If you'll notice, that is a shield and a rose in it. That's symbolic of the National Law Enforcement, the Fallen. It's for the memorial, where we use some of the funds to help build the Law Enforcement Memorial in Anniston, and the other percentage will go to the Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C. So some people say, well, you think if a policeman's following my car and I have that tag on, you think they'll let me speed? Probably not, but it won't hurt you. They'll like you a lot better when they see you supporting their fallen. And let's see, Oxford Tire, I got to tell you about them. Oxford Tire down on 78. They give 10% discount to veterans. If you got a $400 set of tires, that's $40. And besides that, they're just good folks and they do good work. I don't get any compensation for that, but I just get the good feeling knowing that there's some good people out there that still do decent work for a decent price. Veterans Moments you see here every week, over and over and over, and you can't see it too much. That's where it's sponsored by K.L. Brown, Barbara Boyd, Steve Hurst, and Randy Wood, your state representatives, that bring you the Veterans Moments that tells you what's being passed, legislation that's being done in Montgomery on the veterans' behalf. And that's basically the only way you're going to get it is by watching those Veterans Moments. And I always say every week, pay it forward. You're going to be surprised what happens when you do that. You're in a fast food checkout line. Look at the car behind you, the one in front of it. Tell the person on the speaker there that you want to pay it forward. Pick up theirs, watch what you do. You're going to make their day and you're going to make your month, so consider that. The Veterans Court, we still can use some battle buddies out there, some mentors. Judge Stedham is, we talked about that here with Greg. Judge Stedham is heading up that court, and I thank her for doing that. And let me know if you've got somebody that would like to be a part of being a part of that Veterans Court. And we still need drivers for the DAV van. And there again, call me. That's going to takes people to the VA hospital over in Birmingham. And let's see, I'm running fast here because I'm trying. HMR, somebody asked me, is HMR still hiring? I don't know, but I know the website is www.hmrveteransservices.com, and that's at the Pell City home down in Pell City. And if you're interested, go to that website and go to the career button and see what they got. Shout outs to Caitlin and Bella. And let's see, Ms. Betty Carr, Anniston Ambassador. And let's see, this week's salute goes out to all those who assist veterans in any way, and that would be Greg and the other. And we'll see you next week here on Veterans Issues. We're out of here. Goodbye.